natural balance is deeply disturbed. Please, you must hurry.
I'll give you anything.
My research didn't say anything about disembodied voices.
Why are you even here? Go away.
That feeling will drown you if you let it.
I said leave!
We won't let you drown.
Her pain overpowers her still.
I warned you. Hey Tyria, happy Friday and welcome to Guild Chat. I'm your host Ruby and I am here with Cameron Rich today, who worked on the Sunqua Peak Fractal, and we're going to give you a little sneak peek at that today. Cameron, hi, and thank you for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
All right,
Super
so
excited
I don't think
to share
people...
this with everybody.
Yes, me too. I know we're excited to show it off. You guys are excited to see it, so we're not going to wait and make you guys hang out for longer. Cameron, why don't you start? Can you give us a high-level overview of the story and the setting, just kind of what's going on here?
Yeah, sure. So we had mentioned it during the anniversary live stream that Sunqua Peak is a place where a bunch of elements throughout the world kind of congregate. And in the fractal, the elements are in turmoil, and so the mountain is in turmoil. And you're going to be kind of climbing the mountain and bringing peace in any way that you can. So you'll see if you watch the trailer that you're going to be kind of trying to quell the elementals and calm them down. And yeah, it's Sunqua Peak, which is in Sunqua Vale. So Cantha confirmed.
I am never going to get tired of saying Cantha confirmed. I don't know about you.
Never.
I kind of love it. But yes, this was part of Sunqua Vale. We were talking about that a little bit before the live stream. But since it's a fractal, you have some creative license.
Yeah, since it's a fractal, you know, it's a kind of a reimagining of some of the environments that were in Sunqua Vale. There was a mountain range, if people remember, in Guild Wars 1 that you could run through that was kind of snowy capped and stuff like that. And so, you know, just to kind of like go right for it, Sunqua Vale and Sunqua Peak aesthetically differ a little bit. And that is because Sunqua Peak is in the fractals environment. And we all know what happens to fractals whenever, or places whenever they get kind of ripped out and pulled into Tyria, or into the mists from Tyria. They get kind of ripped apart and there's like floating things around. You guys will see it in a second. But yeah, so it's a little different than what you might have seen in GW1. But you know, hopefully it's still something that you guys are really going to like exploring.
Yeah. All right, well, let's start poking around a little bit. You want to start with the weapons?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
All right.
So you go first. What have you got?
Okay, so with this fractal, the big reward that we're giving out is a brand new weapon set called the Abyssal Fractal Weapons. Some of you guys may have seen this in the trailer, but these are black, purple, pink versions of the fractal weapons set. They've got some kind of shadowy mist that comes off of them, and so you can see that Rubi is using the dagger and the focus, and I'm using the axe and the mace. And they've got some really beautiful streaks as well. So to kind of show those off, I'll just take off my backpack. That's kind of really, really bright. Let's do that. Okay. And
Let me swap out.
yeah, you can see the black and pink streaks that come off of the weapon. It's really, really nice. But we also have more weapons to show you guys.
Yeah.
I can go ahead and put on the shield here, which also does have a streak. And Ruby's using the staff and the sword.
Sword out.
Sword is probably one of my favorites.
I am loving the sword so much. Let's see. How about... Staff is probably my favorite. It looks so good.
Yeah. Well, I definitely know
that's
people are going to want to see the greatsword in all its glory. So here's that.
Love that.
And I've also got the rifle, the longbow, and the hammer. So let me show off the hammer a little bit. And then here is the longbow, which has this really cool gradient, like energy string attached to it. Shortbow also has it as well. I'm a warrior and I can't use a shortbow.
But you tried, and that's what counts.
Indeed. And then the rifle.
I'm over here like climbing up on this rock and jumping down just to show off the streaks because I kind of love them.
They're pretty great. They last a good amount of time, and I don't know. I'm a huge fan of like shadowy, kind of edgy effects looks, and so this color scheme is just my jam.
Yeah,
totally
it's so good.
Totally gonna be rocking these on live all the time.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so yeah, some of these are some of the weapons to show off. But I want to look a little bit at what we're going to be fighting.
Yeah, so don't want to spoil too much today, but let's go ahead and look at the first mini-boss.
Yes, please.
So this Fractal has a couple of different mini-bosses in it that teach you the mechanics that you'll need to learn in order to take on the final boss. And so let's go through a little bit of this first one and see what kind of new mechanics we have in store.
All right. Wait, I'm not. All right. I am now immortal.
I die. I promise. I'll try to be good at this game. I actually play a warrior, so.
Are you immortal right now?
I am not.
I was shameless about it. I was like, nope, not going to die here.
So this fight starts out really simple. We've got some just regular projectile patterns that you're going to want to try and dodge. This is tier 1, by the way, so a lot of these mechanics might seem like they're not super punishing, but that's totally intentional because it's tier 1. But still, if you get hit by enough of these, you are definitely going to take a ton of damage. Also, if you try and stand too close...
Don't die.
No! Okay, that's...
Dude! No!
Promise? Okay, maybe I should be immortal for this.
Perhaps you should be immortal for this. Because we're two-manning this right now. I don't know if you noticed, but...
Yeah, so if you try to get
shameless
too close to it,
I don't feel bad.
Push you back, so you'll need to try and stay out of melee range and not get hit by those attacks like I am.
I'm over here healing you like I need you to live.
So yeah, this would go a lot faster if we had a full group. So I'm just going to go ahead and use some dev hacks and bring us down to our first like a little mini phase transition, so we can show off one of the cool new mechanics and some of the new tech that we brought online for this Fractal. So when you get to 66%,
oh, I love these. These are so much
to the
fun.
middle,
I get this
and these orbs start to spawn from lightning strikes. And when you jump, while you have the orbs, go a little bit higher. And you'll see that I have Charged Leap as a buff. I have 2 stacks, I go a certain amount. If I have 3 stacks, I go a certain amount. So you'll want to stack up these orbs. And then in order to make this boss vulnerable again, you'll need to do what Ruby just did and jump into those clouds and disrupt the energy.
Sorry, I like that mechanic. I got excited. Note for you guys. Note for you guys watching, we are going to do a full Let's Play of this next week on release day, so you can see us not, well, okay, so probably getting wrecked a little bit, but somebody wants to know, does that mean you can two-man this? And I'm not going to tell you. The answer to that is tricky. Cam, go.
I am sure that there are those of you out there that are going to be able to two-man this. I've seen people solo content that I was sure was going to take a 5-man group. And so, yeah, no, it's definitely going to happen. It's, especially on the higher tiers of difficulty, it's going to be a lot more difficult. But I'm confident in you guys.
And this is probably a question for later. I have questions about soloing it.
We'll go ahead.
It's like, you already have 3 stacks of Charged Leap. Stop it.
Yeah, it lets you know, hey, you're at the maximum. It's time for you to do your thing. And it's really important, you know, this all looks, you know, pretty simple and fairly easy, and that's absolutely intended. The point of this mini boss, especially on tier 1, which is what we're playing now, is to just teach the mechanic. And so you can't damage him right now. Well, you can now because we did the mechanic. But while he is trapped inside of that tornado, he cannot take damage. And so you do have to complete the mechanic. So it is a check to make sure you do know what you're doing, because later on in the Fractal, that mechanic is going to be very important. And we want to make sure that you know, so you can do it. So we'll go ahead and
slow him down.
Yeah, bring him to 1%.
I am hanging on to this last 1 health so hard. Almost like we're cheating a little bit. Okay.
So yeah, as part of the theme that we talked about earlier of bringing peace to this mountain, you're not just going to be like killing everything that you see here. You saw the elemental got down to 1% health, and then it went friendly, and so you kind of quelled it out of its frenzy, and then it helps you by creating the way forward. And then you'll use this little thing here to go to the next area, and I don't want to spoil the next area, so I think that's where we're going to stop in terms of showing off some mechanics.
Can we show off a little bit of the map instead?
Yes, that we absolutely can do. So,
so the mini bosses teach the mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do we want to see now?
I think we want to do a fly through of the map. And so I'm going to go ahead and change my camera a little bit to something a bit more scenic. We have some cool little dev commands in to change how our camera behaves. And
so we don't spoil certain things for you guys.
Right, here we go.
While Cameron's doing that, the weapon set is called the Abyssal Fractal set.
Yeah, Abyssal Fractal weapons.
Okay.
All right, so I am ready to go.
All right, let's take a look.
All right. So this platform here is the one that we were just fighting the wind mini boss on. I'm going to move back to the beginning of the Fractal and then forward from there. I've gone ahead and unspawned all the creatures that live in this Fractal because I don't want to spoil any of the other bosses or the elementals. I just
We're
want to
telling a
focus
lot of
on
secrets, but we're going to save some for you guys.
yeah, for sure. So here's the entrance of the fractal. Here's kind of your first shot, your first look. You can see that this definitely is a Canthan aesthetic in Guild Wars 2. Canthan confirmed! Sorry, I'm excited.
Can we get like a Cantha confirmed counter? Don't do that. It'll get really big really fast.
We should do that for one of these. Maybe on the live stream on Tuesday. Maybe on the Let's Play.
Yeah. Or do we want like a death counter?
Oh man, we have to have a death counter for the Let's Play.
Oh no.
Especially if we're doing higher tiers of difficulty. Oh man, I definitely want to see that.
I'm like sitting here resisting. There's a lot of things I want to. Oh, on that thing, this is what happens, and I'm just like, just don't talk. Shh. Or a release time counter. I mean, it's coming on the 15th, so we are extremely, extremely close. It really is beautiful. You guys did such a good job, and I'm so excited for all of you to see this.
Yeah, the map artists, the prop artists, everybody that worked together on this just like really knocked it out of the park. It was a big undertaking. We needed to figure out, you know, how do we build a Canthan aesthetic for this fractal without spoiling the aesthetic that players are going to find in the next expansion in End of Dragons. So rest assured that End of Dragons is going to be just as awesome to explore the first time through, and this fractal is not going to spoil it. But it is going to give you a little bit of a taste of it.
Hey, you're pretty good at this. I love the dramatic swoop through the arches.
I play around with this fly camera stuff all the time. When we were first building raids back for Heart of Thorns, we had a bunch of internal playtests, and we had a bunch of people in the room that were watching on a big screen as our players were going through and actually fighting those bosses. And to try and give a little bit more of a cinematic experience, I turned on this fly cam stuff and I practiced a bunch, and it's a lot of fun. It's super cool.
Yeah.
I do it way too much though.
So something that we talked about on the anniversary stream, that we showed your quote unquote concept art that I love of this fractal, and one of the things that we talked about were the different elements, and you're kind of flying through and illustrating those.
Yeah.
And it feels very weird to look at my center monitor and like we're still standing here in like the cloudy kind of rainy area, and then I look over it and you're just flying through like this fire zone.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to get a variety of elements into this fractal, just to have, you know, a really good amount of different feels in the aesthetic. A good color gamut.
Someone said, can we know who did the concept art? And I think they're talking about the concept art that we showed off on the live stream. Was that you?
The map one, one that was
like paint. Yeah. Hey, I love it.
Yeah,
I'm not knocking it.
The super paint one, yes, that was me. That was me just sitting down and drawing it on a tablet.
That's honestly some of my favorite stuff.
It's one of my favorite parts of development, just being able to sit down and just kind of like ideate, you know, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And for instances and dungeons and stuff like that, and fractals, it's, you know, it's really fun to just kind of plot out what's the layout of this place going to look like. Also, now that we're here, you guys might recognize some of this from the trailer as where the final boss is. Well, I guess we didn't say it was the final boss, but yes, this is where the final boss is.
Surprise!
There's a final boss in the fractal.
What?
Spoilers.
Okay, that you need to calm down with the spoilers.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite set pieces that we did. And kudos to Megan Glennon. Super shout out there. She worked
Yes,
really
Megan.
hard on creating this specific space to like be the big, unique, most beautiful part of the fractal. Trying to incorporate all of the different elements that we have throughout the rest of the map into one space was really challenging, but I think she knocked it out of the park.
She really did. And I think we're going to talk to her more about that next week on Guild Chat. But yeah, I love the work. I love the work that everybody did. So
that was super
nice.
Serendipitous. I did not
That was
plan that.
smooth. No, you did it on purpose. You're just that good. That was awesome.
So yeah, that's a little that's a little bit of the fly through of the map.
Okay.
Do we want to see a little bit more, or do we want to move on to the next point?
Let's see a little bit more, and then I feel like there's something that you guys want to hear about. Maybe a CM.
Oh yeah, definitely. So while I continue to just fly through here, maybe I can talk a little bit about what we want to talk about next. Is that okay?
Yeah, go. Yes, it is totally okay. Go. That's why I was like, let's talk about this thing.
Okay. So when we released the trailer, we saw a lot of people voice their concerns that they were worried that this was not going to be a challenge mode fractal like Nightmare and Shattered Observatory. That the fractal was just going to have a challenge moat like the ones that come with the Ad Infinitum backpack collection. And I am here to assuage your fears. Trust me, it is not a challenge moat. It is a challenge mode. And in fact, here in a moment, I want to show you guys something that will hopefully make all those fears go away. For our last little shot, this is my favorite one, so I'm just gonna leave it off here.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Super good. Can't wait for you guys to explore yourselves. All right.
Yeah.
Boom, we're back in game. Let's go ahead and leave tier 1.
All right.
We'll go over to tier 4, where those of you who are familiar with challenge mode, network error. I don't know what that is.
I'm still here.
Yeah, everything looks fine. I'm just going to chalk it up to our dev environment being dev.
It turns out people are working on this. Yes, I am in fact ready to continue.
All right, so
what do we got?
Those of you familiar with challenge mode know that you unlock challenge mode by completing all of the achievements for the fractal, and then you unlock a challenge mode. Don't mind the monkey and the golem; they're just there to help us test. And here is the challenge mode. It is indeed at the beginning of the fractal. Does indeed spawn the Harbinger of Woe. And we will accept his challenge. But we're going to show you that this time around we did something a little different.
Hey. So the spirits have vanished.
Right.
What's that about?
Indeed. And the environment has gotten even stormier. There's a bit more turmoil in the sky. Things have gotten darker and a more reddish tint. And it's a lot more noticeable at the very end of the fractal, which I'm not going to go to. But with the challenge mode fractals, one of the things that we really kind of hit on was that when you go into challenge mode, you're there for the challenge. You're not there for seeing all the story all over again. And so in the previous iterations in Nightmare and Shattered Observatory, we cut the fluff and we reduced the number of voice lines. We almost got them entirely in Nightmare and just had what was absolutely necessary. And just kind of let you go straight to the content that you wanted to get into for challenge mode. And that philosophy is the same here in the Mountain Fractal, or sorry, in Sunqua Peak. We've been calling it Mountain for so long. Sunqua Peak. It's the same philosophy with Sunqua Peak. And in fact, we actually took it a step further. Because Sunqua Peak is kind of built a little differently in terms of flow, since it has those mini bosses that teach mechanics that you then get tested on with the final boss, when you activate the challenge mode, and you activate challenge mode by talking to the Harbinger, he will open up this portal and allow you to skip straight to the boss at the very end of the Fractal. So you don't have to go through any of the other mini bosses. You don't have to learn the mechanics again because we expect that you know them. And just like the other challenge mode Fractals, there are new abilities. There are some souped up attacks, some new effects. There's a lot of surprises in store for this time around. And I really as much as I want to go through that portal and show you guys, like, I can't. I want you to see it for yourselves on day one. But this is a challenge mode Fractal. This is built for those hardcore players who really want to jump in and wet their teeth on really difficult content. And so we've got a lot of group coordination mechanics for you guys to figure out. We've got, a good amount of fun surprises, I'll just say, that I can't wait for you guys to step into and figure out. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
That was plenty. This is good news. So I will say, on that first playthrough, take your time.
Mm-hmm.
You want to learn the mechanics. Trust me, I found them out the hard way a few times. Take your time, learn the mechanics, but also look around. There is a little bit more here than meets the eye along the way, I think. Is that accurate, Cameron? Am I explaining that right without spoiling too much?
No, I think that's definitely right. And in fact, the story of the Fractal is kind of told in many different parts. And so there's the story of the gameplay. And as we mentioned on the anniversary live stream, there's a lot hidden in the Fractal that kind of illuminates the events that are going on in the gameplay and give you a little bit more backstory. And so in order to activate challenge mode, you do have to complete all the achievements. And part of those achievements is to go and find all the secrets and learn the story of what's happening. And so once you do have a fuller picture of what's happening on Sunqua Peak, that's whenever you're able to go into challenge mode and really see just how things culminate whenever you have all of the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, that works out well. All right, so new weapons, the Fractal, got some of the story, challenge mode, and we do have something coming up at the end of the month that's kind of related to this. Do you want to talk about that? Karen's like,
yes.
Drinking.
Yes.
One last thing before we wrap up.
Later on this month, I believe 2 weeks after this Fractal ships, 9/29, we are going to be holding a game-wide bonus event. These are like the boss rush events that we've done in the past, except this time it's going to be about Fractals. So gather your friends, go and do Fractals of all different kinds, and progress that global progress bar and get that loot. It's going to be a fun time for everybody, and hopefully it's a time to really bring in some new players who maybe want to wet their feet and get into the Fractals environment but haven't really had the chance to do so yet. And hopefully it's a time to get your friends to come back and try all the new content and try Sunqua Peak and maybe try the challenge mode as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Cameron. I keep looking over here because you're on this monitor, and I want someone to look at. That's the hardest part about doing this remotely. So
Indeed.
thank you for running us through all of that. Thank you for showing us the weapons. Thank you for showing us the map and one of the bosses. And you guys in chat, thank you guys so much for coming and taking a sneak peek at Sunqua Peak with us. And we will see you guys on Tuesday on live in Sunqua Peak.
See
All
you
right,
guys.
I will let you get back to work. I will let you guys get back to playing. Thanks. We'll see you Tuesday.